Hey guys!
Hi guys!
My name is SunnyBunch.
And I'm Sunflower.
And together we are a proud interracial YouTubing couple known as
SunnyBunch. So, I recently stumbled upon a Korean series on Netflix called
Extracurricular.
And we're gonna be reviewing that today and hope that you like it. But firstly, let's get into what it's about.
품행이 단정하고 학업 성취도가 높습니다. 사회에 귀감이 되며 모범적인 학생입니다.
이 실장님 수고하세요.
Extracurricular, directed by Jin-Min Kim, is a Korean drama thriller series centered around Jisoo, a model high school student who was abandoned by his parents when he was in the 9th grade. And in order to make ends meet, he anonymously works as a security service provider for an illegal prostitution business under the name Uncle. Things take a turn though when fellow classmate Yuri takes an interest in his secret.
너 그러다 죽어.
Cool, so that's really exciting. Just like seeing it now again also makes me feel like I want to watch it again. But anyway, before we're going to get into the thoughts of everything we thought after watching the show, we want to make sure you've seen it. So if you need, maybe give it 5 more minutes because we're going to do some spoiler-free talk first. But then go watch the show, come back and listen to our thoughts. Think how you feel about it. Share your thoughts with us in the comment. Anyway, but first, spoiler-free talk. So we're going to start by talking about the plot. Now, personally, I really loved this series' plot. I think it told a story that's not a completely original tale, but it still told it from a unique perspective in a unique way. And not just because it's Korean, but just from the characters and everything, just had a fresh take to it. How did you feel about the plot in general?
I loved it. Like, I really love it because I like watching a series that when I do watch it, I want to be drawn in quickly and I want to be so invested in this story that I want to know how everybody's life is going to turn out, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah. So it pulled me in like from the flippin' first episode, Definitely. Which was like, what? Because I didn't expect that. Well, first of all, I did not have expectations. I just wanted to try something out that I've never tried, really. And so I didn't go in with expectations, but I never expected that it was going to be that good of a series. I really, really enjoyed it.
No, definitely. And I think the thing that makes the plot good is they definitely have, like Suella said, a few hooks to keep you invested, but nothing feels cheap. All the characters and the plot, it feels realistic, it feels grounded, and it oftentimes subverts your expectations. You think one thing happens and it doesn't end up like that. I also almost feel like the plot is in 2 parts, like the first 5 episodes and the last 5 episodes almost feel like if it was a movie it'd be the first one and the second one because they have very distinct feelings. And I really love that about this show, and I genuinely think just the plot alone, not even looking at the characters yet, the tone, the action or anything, just the plot alone already makes it such a good show. But to delve deeper into it, we want to start looking at the characters. Now, you start us off. How do you feel about the characters of the show?
As actors, I love them. As characters in the thing, like as seeing them as individuals in their real life, that is a story. It was a hate-love relationship at times, you know what I mean? Which is a good thing because now, I'm invested in, I want them to do well. I want to know what's happening. Why are they acting this way? It's all like emotions over and up, which is great because they're doing really good. Because you can feel their emotions. You can understand what they're going through, understand their thinking for some reason. As much as it might like take you off a little bit, or you might love it, but you get to understand how they think, which makes the story a lot more wonderful to watch.
And the thing that's really interesting is they definitely just explore a lot of personality types. There's some really psychopathic, sociopathic mindsets explored. There's a truly introverted mind space. The concept of bottling up emotions and what effect that takes on you, the effect that certain parenting styles has on a kid. So many stuff is like the effects of war on a person. There's a lot of like different types of emotional trauma and just like fun stuff as well. And the thing that I loved about the characters of the show is almost everyone felt two-dimensional, not just or well, whatever, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional. And what I mean by that is a lot of shows will have a character like, okay, cool, this is the bad guy, he's scary and bad. But every single person in the show, including what you could see as one of the bad guys, you know, he was scary at times, but he had a soft side, he had a funny side. Like, I think almost every single person in the show had a part of them that you actually felt for and enjoyed and laughed at. Because as much as it's a drama, the characters in the show are super relatable and sometimes really not relatable, which is good because sometimes you love and agree with what they do and sometimes you hate them for the decisions that they make. But in everything, it's backed up. It doesn't just feel cheap. Nothing about the show's decisions feel cheap or just chasing the hype or whatever you want to call it. They really they stick with the decisions they make. Another thing we really like about the show is the tone, as touched upon in the plot and characters that we were speaking about. And what we love about the tone is how it really takes you on a roller coaster where some shows feel totally inconsistent when they do that. Like, okay, cool, now it's a comedy, but now it's a action, now it's a drama. And with this show, it genuinely has comedy, it genuinely has action, it genuinely has drama, thriller, some really interesting elements, romance, whatever you want to put it in. But all those things really come together to form something that's really its own. I would say at the heart of it all, it is a drama thriller, but even with that, there's so many injections of fun stuff, especially comedy. There were a bunch of times where we genuinely laughed out loud.
And then like, how? Like, how does a person go from that to that? Which is really cool because you're like, okay, they have different sides to them. They can be really passionate and nice and accommodating, you know, and then they can be really brutal and like, you know, I want this done, so it's kind of like a switch thing that made it really cool to understand both of them. Like, actually, I don't dislike you as much. Type of thing, but yeah, it was really, really fun.
And then, I mean, just touching on the action as well, like there was some surprisingly well choreographed and filmed action pieces in this. Without spoiling anything, it's nothing major. Like, don't expect the next Bruce Lee film. But I mean, I went into this expecting a straightforward drama, and without spoiling anything, there are some scenes where they really did some creative cinematography.
Yes.
Well, cinematography in general is really good, but with some of the action, I'm like, that's a creative take.
Yeah, the quality of the series was spot on. Like, really great.
Just production quality in general, it felt expensive. And even though there is technically a lot of cast members, it does feel like a very intimate story and it keeps it close to heart. Like, you never feel overwhelmed with characters and information. You constantly feel like, okay, in the beginning I was a little bit lost, but I do think it's the fact that we get a little bit lost in translation and stuff, but you quickly pick it up, and from there you are committed to what they're making you feel and where they're taking you. And I mean, on that note, like, this series stands its own to a lot of American productions, a lot of British productions. And I say this because I've watched a bunch of shows this year. We've watched a bunch of shows this year. And I can't remember in the last few months enjoying a show as much as we did this one.
Yeah.
I think it's not necessarily the best show I've ever seen, but the point we're trying to make is it's refreshing to watch something that's atypical to what you see in every American show. I think it's so crucial that we give other countries a chance, and Korea is really coming up in the media industry, so I would really want to be a part of that. I think Zoella super wants to be a part of that, and we're just genuinely enjoying where the show takes us, and so much so that we would watch a season 2, even though I'd be really happy if there wasn't one, because I really feel it concludes so well. And speaking about endings, maybe now's the best chance we have to transition to spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen the show, you're planning to watch it, please stop, and we do encourage you to watch it. But if you're here returning after having seen the show or having seen it before even watching this video, now's the time to talk thoughts, endings, and everything spoiler. They all die. No, that's a joke. So, I mean, you start us out with your initial thoughts. What do you think?
What I loved about the series is that I get what they were trying to address. They were trying to address bullying in schools. They were trying to address criminality, like being a criminal doesn't pay, and just socio-dynamic thing happening in the schools, and with parents being putting too much pressure on the kids and things like that. Jisoo wants to afford this lifestyle that his classmates have, but he doesn't. So he does all this criminal business thing that allows him to get that type of money to save up and better his life. Whereas Yuri is bored and doesn't like the pressure from home and just wants some excitement in her life and just to stop about like the entertainment industry, blah, blah, blah. What did her parents want her to do? So it's like, you know what? I want to find out what he's up to and I want to make money with him. So it's not really about the money for her, but it's just like it's something to do other than the pressure from home.
I think the motivation behind why she wanted to make money with him was twofold. I think she was curious and wanted to inject some life into her life. But I think also she wanted to make money independent of her parents, as was shown at the end when she decides, okay, cool, I'm going to Australia with money she made because, yes, she bribed her parents, but at the end of the day, she felt she did something, she took action, and that was her earned money because she had to complete an action. So at the end of the day, independency was the biggest thing she was seeking. That was her motivation, and you hated it for so much.
I hated it for so long because it was like, why did you just come and disrupt his life? I mean, he was a quiet, smart person in class. I want to get things done and move on. She just came and disrupted everything. Things went to shit because she was too ambitious, I feel like. She wanted to grow the business. How do you grow a prostitution ring without people finding out about it? So she was that ambitious about things and he wasn't. He wanted to do things under carpet so that when he's done, no one will notice and he'll just continue with his normal life because that's what he wanted. He wanted a normal life.
But that's the thing that gets interesting is we need to remember, like something I was thinking about is if she didn't interfere, if she didn't find the phone, there'd be no story. So they just needed to give enough motivation to make it work. Now, one of the things Zola was sitting with is how the hell are we supposed to see this girl as a good person after her ruining his life? But they give us enough to, even though everyone's an asshole in the show, almost everyone, including Jisoo, is an asshole with the fact that he doesn't want to express his emotion, he doesn't want to take those risks, and he is unfortunately sometimes a coward because he's so careful. They give us just enough of almost everyone to give us a reason to want to feel sorry for them, except Mijun, which is the husband of the bad guy, Daegul. You know who I'm talking about? The one smoking woman.
Yeah.
You don't care about her. You probably hate her more than anyone. I do think also that I think the cop side of the story was a bit slow and weird for me, and I didn't care about the cop as much as I wanted to. So I think if I had to point at the weakest character in the show, I would say the cop, and that's what.
Yeah, I also didn't feel her really. It was like, I know maybe that was the point. Maybe that was the point that the police sometimes don't do what they need to do. They don't think as much as they need to because they brush things off. Like, no, they're kids. Kids are not capable of doing something like this. You know, it's this type of thing, and then they just took that for long. And the cop man that she's working with, he does not care. Like, he's like, stop it, you know, focus on other things, type of thing. Which was, thing is, that also made me nervous because I was on their side. I feel like this series will make you choose sides.
Yeah, I was not on the side of the cops, were you?
No, I was not. So you either want to be like, okay, cop, find them and arrest them because they've been bad, or you feel for the bad guys, like Jisoo and them. You feel for the bad guys and be like, no. Even though they're doing a bad thing, they did that really good as well.
And I think that's why the ending is such a perfect ending, because at the end of the day, you have to look at it from an objective point of view. They do support prostitution, which we can't support, you know, so we can't want them to succeed in their business. So what happens, according to my opinion of the ending, I feel it ends with they lose their prostitution, which is good. They get money because of the prostitution, though, from her parents, and my opinion is that they did fly away together eventually after Jisoo being healed, and if that's the ending, I'm happy. How do you feel about the ending?
That's the cool thing about the endings, because you don't know whether they're flown or it's in prison where he is. Because he loved that turtle, it could be in prison, and they're like, oh, keep your little thing. Or they actually ran away together and they're actually happy where they are, which is like, it's nice to have that mysteriousness to the ending.
But at the end of the day, do you feel like you're satisfied with the ending and you're happy with the show as is?
Yeah, I love the ending. Yeah, I think so.
What are your thoughts on the ending? Tell us how you felt about the show. We can't wait to hear more from you. But anyway, this is us, SunnyBunch, and we love you guys. Go watch some of our other content. Keep watching K-dramas. See ya.